Battle Pope. Robert Kirkman's first comic book project was the 2000 superhero parody Battle Pope, which he co-created with artist Tony Moore. It was self-published under the Funkotron label. Battle Pope is set in a world where God has taken his children to heaven, leaving behind sinners like the Pope, who is now tasked with fighting demons and rescuing St. Michael from Lucifer's clutches. The series takes a humorous and, at times, irreverent approach to religious and supernatural themes. The Pope himself is portrayed as a heavy-drinking, womanizing martial arts expert trained by none other than Bruce Lee. Oh, and as if things weren't bizarre enough, Jesus Christ is the Pope's roommate. The comic ran for over 2 years before being reprinted in full color a few years later. It was also adapted into an animated series that aired in 2008 on Spike TV and Vcast, though that service is no longer around. If you're looking to watch it now, only the first episode is available on YouTube and some Spanish websites. Later on, Kirkman and Moore would go on to create The Walking Dead and Invincible, which you've probably heard of.
The Walking Dead.
This is one of my best non-superhero comics. This comic is also one of Robert Kirkman's most well-known creations. This post-apocalyptic horror comic series first hit shelves in October 2003. The Walking Dead focuses on Rick Grimes, a Kentucky sheriff who wakes up from a coma in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. As the story progresses, Rick rises to become the leader of a group of survivors, struggling to hold on to their humanity while facing unspeakable horrors. The series ran for 193 issues and wrapped up in July 2019. Along the way, it spawned numerous spin-offs, including novels, guidebooks, and a popular video game series by Telltale Games. It's also inspired board games, graphic novels, and, of course, the TV series that became a cultural phenomenon. Kirkman's work on The Walking Dead earned widespread acclaim, largely due to its unflinching portrayal of emotional trauma, tough leadership choices, and the ever-present zombie threat.
Tech Jacket.
Before Kirkman became synonymous with The Walking Dead and Invincible, he worked on Tech Jacket, a series that ran for only 6 issues before it was canceled due to low sales. The series is published by Image Comics and revolves around Zach Thompson, a teenager who comes into possession of a Tech Jacket, a powerful weapon created by the Geldarians, a race of intelligent but physically weak beings. The Tech Jacket grows and matures with its host, specializing in tasks that the host will find most useful, making it one of the most powerful weapons in the universe. Reviews of the series are mixed. Some readers find the story basic and rather typical, with Zack being invincible due to the Tech Jacket, which reduces the risk and challenge in the narrative. However, the artwork is generally praised, with the art style being compared to an older manga style that works well with the story. Tech Jacket was Kirkman's first creator-owned book, and despite not being his best work, it is still enjoyable and a quick read.
Invincible.
Shortly after Tech Jacket, Kirkman started working on Invincible in 2003. This series, which he co-created with artist Cory Walker at the request of Image Comics, became a staple of superhero comics. It's about Mark Grayson, the teenage son of the world's most powerful superhero, Omni-Man, who starts developing his own superpowers and begins his journey as a superhero. Invincible follows Mark as he discovers his Viltrumite heritage and grapples with what it means to be a superhero. The first 3 volumes focus on Mark's early days as Invincible, with Omni-Man mentoring him and introducing him to other heroes like Eve, Rex, Robot, and Duplicate. The series ran for 144 issues from January 2003 to February 2018, and it also has several spin-off series like Guarding the Globe, Adam, Eve, and Rex Splode, and more. Invincible was adapted into an animated TV series on Amazon Prime Video in 2021. On top of that, Invincible is getting a live-action film with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg on board as writers and directors. While it's still in development, the animated series has already been a massive hit. Kirkman himself acknowledged the diversity changes in the animated version, mentioning that characters like Amber and Mark's mother were race-swapped to address the lack of diversity in the original comic.
Battle Beast.
You can't talk about Robert Kirkman's comics without mentioning his recent work from the Invincible universe, Battle Beast. This new ongoing comics series brings back the original Invincible creative team, writer Robert Kirkman and artist Ryan Ottley, to focus on a character that has always stood out. Battle Beast is a well-known character who has become one of the Invincible fan favorites. Known for his relentless thirst for combat and a constant search for opponents strong enough to challenge him, Battle Beast has always been a mysterious figure. This series aims to fill in the gaps, revealing the hidden parts of his story that were never shown in the main Invincible run. The timeline of the comic takes place between issues 19 and 55 of Invincible, a period where Battle Beast disappears from the main storyline. These new issues follow his journey across the galaxy, offering a closer look at what he was doing, who he was fighting, and what kept pushing him forward. As of writing this script, 3 issues have been released. Each one builds on the core idea of a warrior who lives for conflict, searching for someone, anyone, who can match his strength. It's written in a way that makes it accessible for both longtime Invincible readers and people who are completely new to the series. There's no need to worry about spoilers or continuity. This story stands on its own.
Brit. Earlier, I mentioned a few Invincible spin-offs, and one that kinda stands out is Brit. He's got his own comic series, Brit, with stories like Old Soldier, Cold War, and Red, White, and Blue. Brit is a character who gained invulnerability from a serum created by his father. He's a government agent, essentially the last line of defense when things get really messy. A grizzled, no-nonsense guy in his 60s, Brit doesn't hold back, whether it's fighting off bad guys or dropping truth bombs. Though the series contains plenty of violence and crude humor, it's not nearly as brutal as other comics like The Boys. Brit also pops up in the Invincible universe from time to time, adding a unique flair to the broader story. Now for one of my personal favorites, the Astounding Wolfman. If you're familiar with Invincible, you may recognize this character who's part of Kirkman's superhero universe. Gary Hampton is a wealthy CEO who gets attacked by a werewolf during a family vacation. He survives the attack but ends up becoming a werewolf himself, using his new powers to fight crime as the Astounding Wolfman. The story may sound typical, but trust me, it's more than that. The series, which ran for 25 issues from 2007 to 2010, explores themes of redemption as Gary struggles to control his animal instincts while facing enemies like vampires and other supernatural threats. It's a solid blend of action, horror, and superhero tropes with art by Jason Howard. Capes. Kirkman's Capes is another superhero comic, but with a unique twist. Set in a world where superheroes work for a company called Capes Inc., the heroes punch time clocks and get paid like regular employees. The series is both a parody of superhero tropes and a fresh take on the genre, with characters like Bolt, Kid Thor, and Commander Capitalism. The first volume, Capes Punching the Clock, includes the first 3 issues of the original miniseries and some backup stories from Invincible. It's quirky, clever, and adds another layer to Kirkman's expansive universe.
Void Rivals. If you're a fan of Transformers or G.I. Joe, you might like this. Void Rivals is an ongoing comic book series published by Skybound Entertainment. It is the first original installment in the Energon universe, a shared universe that combines new Transformers and G.I. Joe comics developed by Skybound in collaboration with Hasbro. The series debuted on June 14, 2023, and features Jetfire, a surprise cameo from the Transformers franchise as part of its storyline. Void Rivals focuses on 2 opposing forces, the Agorians and the Zertonians, with Durak, an Agorian pilot, and Salila, a Zertonian pilot, as the main characters. They find themselves stranded on a desolate planet after a mission to recover a comet's frozen ice, leading to a survival scenario where they must either cooperate or kill each other. The comic book series aims to create a retro sci-fi adventure feel while introducing a new shared universe that resonates with fans of both Transformers and G.I. Joe. Sean Makowicz, publisher and SVP for Skybound Entertainment, described Void Rivals as taking every element fans expect from Skybound comics and expanding the depth, scope, and stakes as the series progresses.
DieDieDie. You may have already guessed, but yes, DieDieDie is another one of Kirkman's works. Co-created with Scott M. Gimple, this series is packed with action and violence. It follows a secret government organization carrying out assassinations to manipulate world events. It's fast-paced, over-the-top, and pretty intense with plenty of blood and chaos. Published by Skybound Entertainment and Image Comics, the series was first announced on July 11, 2018, and its first issue was released the following day as a surprise launch to create excitement in comic shops. The comic aims to bring back the element of surprise and anticipation for new comic book releases, contrasting with the common practice of leaking information ahead of time. Oblivion Song.
Oblivion Song is an American comic book series created by writer Robert Kirkman and artist Lorenzo De Felici, which debuted by Image Comics in 2018 and concluded with its 36th issue in June 2022. The series is set in a supernatural science fiction world where a decade ago, 300,000 citizens of Philadelphia were lost in a mysterious dimension known as Oblivion. The government made every attempt to recover them, but eventually gave up. Nathan Cole, the protagonist, makes daily trips to rescue those still living in the apocalyptic hellscape of Oblivion, risking his life to save the lost citizens. However, there might be more to Nathan's actions than just rescuing people. He may be searching for something else, and the reason for his persistence is linked to the Oblivion Song. The comic series has received mixed reviews. Some readers found it dull and unimpressive, criticizing the writing and art style, while others appreciated the premise and potential for growth in the story.
Super Dinosaur.
If you're well familiar with Kirkman's comics, you might be surprised he's involved in the writing of this comic. The concept for Super Dinosaur originated when Howard drew a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a cape for his young son, which he shared with Kirkman. Kirkman then suggested the dinosaur could control larger robotic arms, leading to the development of the series' core concept. The series follows Derek Dynamo, a boy genius, and his best friend Super Dinosaur, a genetically altered Tyrannosaurus Rex with human-level intelligence. Together, they protect Inner Earth, a hidden world beneath the Earth's surface, from threats like the villainous Dr. Max Maximus. Kirkman and Howard aimed to create a comic that both they and their children could enjoy, describing it as a Pixar movie on paper. The series was designed to be an all-ages title, with action and friendship at its core, and has been well received for its lighthearted and fun-loving approach. However, some readers have noted that it may not appeal to older audiences due to its focus on younger readers. The series has also been adapted into a TV show, which premiered in 2018.
Thief of Thieves.
The series, which premiered on February 8, 2012, centers on Conrad Paulson, who leads a double life as master thief Redmond. Redmond decides to quit his career just before attempting what would be his biggest heist yet, and instead starts a new life stealing from other thieves to make amends for his past mistakes. The comic features a rotating team of writers, with Nick Spencer writing the first story arc and Sean Martinborough as the permanent artist. The series has been well received, with some critics praising the characterization and storytelling, although there have been some criticisms regarding the pacing and dialogue. Additionally, AMC is developing a television series based on the comic, with Chick Egley set to serve as the showrunner if the project moves forward.
Firepower.
Firepower, another of Kirkman's creations, is an ongoing comic that kicked off in August 2020. The series was first announced in December 2019, and its original plan included an original graphic novel prelude in April 2020, followed by a free first issue in May as part of Free Comic Book Day. However, due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the cancellation of FCBD, these plans were altered. The FCBD issue was rebranded as the Firepower Issue 1 Promotional Edition and released on the same day as the Prelude OGN in early July. The story follows Owen Johnson, a Chinese orphan adopted by Americans, who travels to China to find the Order of the Flaming Fist to learn more about his birth parents. Once there, Owen trains with Master Wei Lun and falls in love with fellow student Ling Zan. After experiencing heartbreak, Owen leaves the Order to build a new life in the United States, where he becomes a father and husband. Firepower has been well received by critics and fans alike.
Haunt. Haunt is a darker, more intense creation from Kirkman, in collaboration with Todd McFarlane. It's a series about two brothers, one a priest and the other a government agent, who after an accident are forced to work together in unexpected ways. The priest, Daniel, ends up being possessed by his deceased brother Kurt's spirit, and the two become the superhero Haunt. This series is packed with over-the-top violence, gruesome action, and a storyline that is both dark and gritty. The violence, while intense, is balanced by strong character development and creative team synergy. That said, some readers have drawn comparisons to other well-known characters, like Spider-Man and Venom, with some wondering if the series offers enough originality. Outcast.
Finally, if you're into supernatural horror, Outcast might be right up your alley. The series follows Kyle Barnes, a man whose family has been plagued by demonic possession. With the help of a clergyman, Kyle tries to uncover the mysteries behind his connection to these supernatural events. The first issue of the monthly comic was published in 2014 by Image Comics. The series ran for a total of 48 issues until its completion in April 2021. Before the first release, Kirkman also began developing a television adaptation with Cinemax, which aired from June 2016 to 2018, spanning 2 seasons. The comic book series features strong horror elements and has received positive reviews for its story and artwork.
Marvel Comics. Robert Kirkman also worked on some Marvel comics.
At Marvel, he wrote several notable series, including Ultimate X-Men, Irredeemable Ant-Man, and Marvel Zombies. He also contributed to Captain America Volume 4, Marvel Knights 2099, Jubilee, and Fantastic Four Foes. However, Kirkman's experience at Marvel was not entirely positive. He described his time there as restrictive and mentioned that he was very upset with the publisher. He faced struggles with the promotion of his comics and had issues with his cover art being altered. The final straw came during a discussion over an Ultimate Marvel crossover he was plotting with fellow writers Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Millar. Kirkman's departure from Marvel to focus on creator-owned work at Image Comics was a significant move in his career.